Welcome to Inspirational Talks with LaDonna Marie, a Planting Positive Seeds podcast. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Inspirational Talks with Dr. LaDonna Marie. I'm so excited to be here with you again, to bring in my guest so she can share her journey and how she's overcome some things in her life. But you know, here at Planting Positive Seeds, we plant positive seeds in the lives of others daily. So I cannot wait to introduce you to Miss Adriene. Adriene, how are you doing tonight?
Hi, LaDonna. First, I want to thank you for allowing me to be on your show with your audience and you. It's a privilege to be here. I'm doing very well. How are you?
That's good. Listen, I'm doing good. I've been excited for your interview. I want to learn all about you, and I know that the listeners of Inspirational Talks can't wait to hear what you have to share with us. So first, I want you to start off by just sharing a little bit about yourself.
Sure. So, I'm Adriene Caldwell. I've written a book. It's the story of my life from early childhood to my early 20s. During this time, I was either the witness to or the victim of, and these are trigger warnings for our episode: sexual assault of a young girl, the drowning death of another child, emotional and physical abuse, extreme poverty, mental illness, homelessness, horrifically abusive foster care, bulimia, drug and alcohol addiction, pedophilia, death, suicide, and incest. So I've been there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I just want to thank you first off for just giving your yes to be here, to be able to, share your story. I know, and even myself, I'm a 27-year attempted suicide survivor. And so even in the beginning for me, it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy for me to speak on it. I wrote about it, but, God told me that I needed to speak about it. So I just want to, commend you and thank you for coming to share with the listeners some of the things that have happened in your life and to share with us your journey of overcoming the obstacles and the things that happen. And so I do appreciate, and I'm very sensitive to things because I know there are listeners, out there who are standing in some of those areas that you mentioned. And so we want to shed a light on encouragement for where they are and optimism for the way that they can heal and come through. And so I thank you again for being here. Miss Adriene, I want to ask you, with everything that you just told us, what inspires you to do what you do?
Like you, I am a survivor of attempted suicide. And also like you, as we mentioned off air right before the show, um, you feel like there was a purpose, that you were saved, and I share that with you.
Yeah.
My last suicide attempt was with a gun, and
Mm.
I had fired a test shot, and I put it to my temple and I pulled the trigger, and it just went click. And I pulled the trigger again. So I pulled the trigger twice. And I was so bereft. I was so overwhelmed and disappointed. I lowered the gun and I looked at it, and the safety had engaged by like less than a millimeter, just like
Mm.
a hair's width.
Mm.
And later I was taken into police custody, transferred to a psychiatric hospital, mandatory 72-hour hold. And I was laying on the floor in this dark, empty room that they had on the psych ward in the hospital. And I felt just this wash of peace and comfort come over
Mm-hmm.
me. It was like an awakening, if you will. I knew that I was on this planet for a reason
Right.
and that I would not be allowed to leave until I had fulfilled my purpose. It's taken 2 decades. Unlike you, I haven't been able to write about it, speak about it, really even think about it. All the traumas I listed at the beginning. I say I'm expert level at repression and compartmentalization. Like I just shove it down. So my what I am trying to inspire, like you, is hope and just the thought that you can get past that. Anyone can get past whatever they are struggling with.
Yeah.
And I think that if I can go through that and get through it and come out the other side, which I have an amazing life now, and I am so grateful for it. I recognize what I have and
Mm-hmm.
I cherish it. If I can go through all that and come out the other side, so can you. And
Right.
how can I help you through your dark times? Even if it's just sharing my story that, hey, I went through it too. You're not alone. You're not
Yeah.
doing this alone. And
Yeah.
there are other people out there who can tell you their story. So that really inspires me to share. Now, I did have a question for you, if I may.
Okay. Sure.
So you said that you wrote about it, but you didn't talk about it. How did you find writing about it? What was that like for you? Because it's been hell for me. It's been awful.
So writing to me was like a therapy. In my culture, we did not going to therapy was not something that was first recommended. And so I started to journal. And I used to journal around the age of 12. And when I got close to 14, it turned into poetry. And so and after I had, attempted to commit suicide, when I went to the hospital, because I did, crawl to my mom's room to get some help, and she took me to the hospital to get my stomach pumped. But Adrienne, I had a white light moment with God, and he told me that my time on this earth was not done and that there was more for me to do. And so he had given me a flash of everything that I've been doing since then, winning awards, writing books, going around the world, speaking to people, talking to young girls, the nonprofit. And so I got a glimpse of that at 14. And so
Okay.
that gave me enough strength and encouragement, but some days still were low and some days I didn't want to do it.
Right.
But it's just like I got, I was working with God to fulfill his predestined life for me, even though I was still coming around to it, because nothing in my life had changed. I still was 14. I still felt misunderstood. I still felt like I was the odd person out. I felt like I was too emotional. I wanted to love everybody. Other people were mean, but it was how God created me. So once we had that moment, he told me that as I heal you, the words that you write for me will heal others. And so I picked up my pen and my
Beautiful.
pad and I began as a 14-year-old girl to just start writing. And so
Uh,
it turned into poetry. And now, up 10 years later, I've written myself 14 and I've also co-authored maybe 15 or more. And
wow.
I am a multi award winning author. I've been out of the country, in the country. And all of that is because I stayed the test of time and I believed what God believed about me. Because then, if I still was looking in the narrow mindset that I had and looking at what was in front of me, I probably wouldn't have kept going because I was already felt defeated. I already felt like nobody understood me because here I am, this person, I'm acting 100% different from my surroundings.
Mm.
And so that's what kept me writing and I stayed in time with prayer and they made fun of me too because I told them I heard from the Lord. I heard it at a very young age, but I'm older now and I still hear him and I'm still writing and I'm still, doing these things because I know that it's going to touch at least one person.
That's
I aim for the multitude, I aim for the hundreds and thousands, but if I can touch one person, that one person will touch another person. that one person will touch another person. So, like we were saying before, I can't see the finished product of what I began, but I know that if I don't step out and do the one thing, or talk to the one person or encourage that one person, then that person will be missing out. And so I had to push past the hurt, the shame, the guilt that I felt at trying to take my life, or whatever I still didn't understand, and say, well, if God saw enough to save me, if he saw enough to not let me become a statistic, because there were other people who, probably had done the same thing that I had done, and their life was ended. But like you said earlier, I often felt that exact same way. Like, if he saved me, then I have a purpose.
Exactly. That was so beautiful.
Thank
And
you.
I agree. My goal, my barometer for success is if I truly, profoundly change one person's life, then it will all have been worth it. I've spent the last 4 years, nothing compared to you, but the last 4 years trying to write this book, and it's just been reliving those traumas, and it's been hell. But if I can change, and I don't mean just, let them have a better day.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking for, and that's the thing, I may never know, but
Right.
if one person's life is changed, then I will consider it worth it. The pain, the reliving, the trauma, that's how I judge it. So yeah, turns out
Well,
we have
thank
quite a
you.
bit in common.
Yeah. So, it's all a blessing, because you're sharing it, you're sharing your story with the world, because we all do go through different things. And so, someone's gonna pick up, the book, and they're going to be able to read, saying where you were and where you are, and that's the big thing about it. Not, how fast you got there, but
Right.
that you got there.
Exactly.
That's the purpose behind everything, is that you're not stuck, you're overcoming, and you're an overcomer. And so I know that people will be blessed by your book. I know we talked in the beginning about several traumas you listed, some, and whatever you feel comfortable with, I want you to just share a time when you had to overcome an obstacle, and just share with us that.
My mother was schizophrenic, medically schizophrenic, and physically abusive. And the last beating that I received from her, the wooden rod in your closet that you hang your clothes on?
Yes.
That's what she used. And what she was doing was trying to break my spirit so that I would get on the Greyhound bus. I was 12 years old. And the prior week, she had taken my brother and me to the bus station, and I had refused to get on the bus. So she
Mm-hmm.
beat me to break my spirit. And we went back to the bus station, and I did get on the bus that time. And we arrived 2 days later. And I'll share quickly the woman who sat next to me. So my brother and mother, they sat in their two seats, and I
Mm-hmm.
sat next to this older Hispanic woman. And it was summer, Houston, but I was wearing long sleeves. And after about
Yeah.
a day, I lifted up my sleeve and I showed her the bruises on my arm. And she told me something that I've never forgotten. She said, hope for the best, expect the worst, and accept what comes. And it wasn't what I was wanting from her. I don't know what I was hoping or expecting from her. I mean, really, what could she do about any of it? But her words stuck with me. It's not biblical, it's not scripture, but it does encompass some of the same thoughts and the
Yeah.
emotions, the
Yeah.
sowing and reaping and accepting. And
Yeah.
that is so hard. At least
Mm-hmm.
it is for me to accept.
Mm-hmm.
So hearing that at 12, not that I'm saying to accept that situation, but to just later on in life accept those times when when you're going through trials, when you're being tested.
Mm-hmm.
So we get to the Greyhound bus station in San Francisco, and my mother calls. So this is late 80s. She uses a payphone to call the homeless shelter
Mm-hmm.
that she had planned for us to stay at. And they were closed for renovations. They were actually putting in carpet, so we had nowhere to sleep that night. We were sleeping on the benches in the Greyhound bus station in San Francisco, California. And that night, I never went to sleep. I waited for my mother and brother to fall asleep. And that was the night that I ran away. That the courage, the confidence, the dedication, the desperation, really. I was
Mm-hmm.
desperate. I knew that my mother, my family was minimally involved while we were in Houston, but I
Mm-hmm.
knew that being away from them was a very bad thing. So I went upstairs. I called my best friend. I had made her, I became friends, sixth grade, middle school. I had
Mm-hmm.
become very close, and her father answered, and he told me to get out of the bus station to get away from my mother because her last words to me were, "If you get your brother taken away from me, I will kill you." And my response was, "Would you really kill your own daughter?" And she, schizophrenic, mentally
Mm-hmm.
ill, she said, "If I pound your head into the concrete over and over and you die, it's not my fault." So there was a literal death threat, and I knew that she meant it,
Mm-hmm.
literally. So after speaking with Mr. Smith, my best friend's father, I ran out of the bus station and I run a couple blocks, and this car pulls up beside me. It's like 3 a.m. in San Francisco. And
Mm-hmm.
so I get in just to get some distance from me. And when he put his right hand on my left thigh, the next stoplight we were at, because we were in downtown, the next stoplight, I just got out of the car. I didn't
Yeah.
say anything. I just got out, and I was across the street from a hotel. So I feel like there was divine intervention, being safe
Wow.
out of that entire situation. And it wasn't the first time in my life where that inner voice inside me, that the alarm bells started ringing.
Mm-hmm.
I had felt that at 5 years old.
Wow.
I witnessed the sexual assault of my best little girlfriend. So um I I overcame that. My best friend's father ended up flying out to San Francisco, getting me and bringing me back to Houston. And the next day, as the police were patrolling, they saw my brother and mother, and they spoke to her and realized she had no place. They took my brother into custody and sent him back, and we were placed with my best friend's family. So
Okay.
first, I had to go to a girls' shelter and then a
Mm-hmm.
foster family. Ultimately, we were placed, and then I was evicted 9 months later. My brother stayed, and I'm forever grateful to them because they raised him and got him the therapy and um, the developmental tools that he needed.
Yes.
But that's one situation where I feel I know it could have gone much worse than what it did.
Right.
So it's
Wow.
horrifying, but it could have been worse.
Yes. You know, my heart goes out to 12-year-old you, having to make big decisions and like you said, out of desperation and just knowing that you had to you wanted to be anywhere but there. That
Absolutely.
was it was tough to do, but you had to do it. And so, I thank you for sharing that moment, with us and the listeners. I know listeners today is a little heavy, but she's here to share with you all and with me, how she's overcame and the things that she has gone through. So, we're gonna listen with our hearts and with our ears and just, be here to support you as you tell your story. So I'm so grateful that you're here. I just want to know quickly, is there any advice that you would give to a younger person? And then just let us know what is the name of your upcoming book so that we'll be on the lookout for it.
Thank you. To younger listeners, your situation is not permanent. It's going to change sooner than you think. In a few years, you're going to be 18, and the people that are in your life and dictating the rules to you, you're going to be able to choose whether or not you stay in your situation. And it's not just that you'll get to be in charge,
Mhm.
but my message is also that the decisions those make that you make, the you make in as the 18-year-old self, those are going to impact your life. I like to say that the decisions you make today impact your life tomorrow. So if you
Yeah.
make decisions to self-medicate, to do drugs, to drink, to look to outward worldly things,
Right.
that you're just going to continue a bad situation. So first, your situation is not permanent. It will change sooner than you think. You have more power than what you realize. Just your mental attitude, how you perceive things, that is something that you can control. Is the glass half full or is it half empty? Just your day to day, how you approach, that's impacting your situation. And later on, the decisions that you make at that time, that's going to guide what kind of life you ultimately have. So that those are the things that I really want the younger listeners to understand and to look forward to.
Yeah.
And my
That is
book
some
is
sound advice.
Thank you. My book is Unbroken, Life Outside the Lines. Unbroken because my spirit is not broken. If you look it up in the dictionary, it's not broken, not not tamed or fit for service. Think of a horse. You have to
Yeah.
break a horse before you can ride it. Life outside the lines, because my life has never fit into a picture color drawing. It's all over the place. Definitely outside the lines.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing those wonderful words of wisdom to our younger listeners and also, the other listeners that are here on Inspirational Talks. And also your book, which is a phenomenal title, Unbroken, Life Outside the Lines. I can just already feel, saying the encouragement that people will give, the realness of you sharing your life and your journey with others. And so I want to say congratulations in advance for your book and for all of the people that will read it and that will connect with you to, get that encouragement. If you would, Adrienne, if you have a website or if you would like to share ways that people can stay in contact or can follow you, you can do that at this time.
Thank you. Unbrokencaldwell.com. If you go to my website, you can see photos as well as documents from Children's Protective Services. There are the intake form, there's an abuse diagram, monthly reports from caseworkers and therapists. And Unbroken Caldwell is also my social handle. I am on Facebook, Instagram, and occasionally LinkedIn. So I welcome anyone who wants to reach out to me. I will respond.
Awesome. So thank you so much again for coming and sharing your story on Inspirational Talks with your host, Dr. LaDonna Marie. It has been a pleasure and just to be able to listen and to be here to support you on tonight. So thank you once again.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. All right, everyone. So be sure to stay connected to Inspirational Talks with Dr. LaDonna Marie. Share with your friends, your families, and those who need some encouragement because you can find it here. Peace and blessings, everyone. Y'all have a great night. Bye.
This has been another purpose-packed episode of Inspirational Talks with LaDonna Marie, a Planting Positive Seeds podcast. Please remember to like, share, and tell your friends about the podcast. Stay tuned for many more Inspirational Talks with LaDonna Marie.